Hello viewers, welcome back to the Moose Mobile Auto Repair channel, and today we are just going to be replacing the PCV valve. We are going to start by removing the engine cover. They are 10 millimeters each. This one here is missing, and we have a couple of plastic clips here. So I'm just going to take this off. There's a hose here for the PCV valve in the corner here. Remove the clamp and pull out. Now on this particular vehicle, this PCV valve is approximately 11 years old, so I'm going to change it. So if you're having issues, if it's stuck open, it could cause a vacuum leak, and if it's stuck closed, I think that could also give some problems. This also could help to prevent oil burning. The PCV valve stands for positive crankcase ventilation. So this is responsible for eliminating and or reducing blow-by gases in the crankcase. So anyhow, I'm going to replace it. If you guys, again, if you're having issues, drivability problems, this could fix your issue, because the PCV valve is a very commonly overlooked part. So I'm going to be replacing it now. I forgot to mention that if your vehicle has the one with the red sealant that takes a 19 millimeter hex, the part number is exactly the same, except that the 4 is a 5. So it would be 12204220 and then a 51 instead of a 41. So for this one, you just need a half drive ratchet and a 22 millimeter socket, and loosen it up. Now, I was gonna say to be careful from the aftermarket ones, because the thread pitch could be different, and so you don't want to damage the threads inside the valve cover. Otherwise, you're gonna have a ton of issues and problems. So here's the old one. Now, there's one test that you could do. You could shake this and see if it rattles inside. So this one is rattling. So here's the old one. This one is rattling, but it's not rattling as good as the new one. And you can see here, this one has the green sealant. Here's the new one here. Old one. Both of these are rattling. It's just that the old one is not rattling as much. So it's a little bit like binding or stuck in there because of the carbon buildup. So even if you change your oil often, you'll still get a little bit of carbon buildup on these. Now, from what I know, is that these ones usually fail after between the 10 to 12 year mark. So it's a good idea to replace these while you're doing the spark plugs. Now also, you could blow onto here and see if you feel any air here. But I don't recommend doing that on the old one, because you're gonna get all of this stuff in your mouth. So anyhow, we are going to replace this now. with the new one. Make sure you thread it in well. You don't want to cross thread this. So try to get it in as much as you can by hand first. You can just use the socket like this and turn it in by hand. And afterwards you can tighten this up until this side and it bottoms out and almost flush against the valve cover. Doesn't need to be on extremely tight until it stops, and then you should be good. Now it's very important that as soon as it touches the valve cover, you want to stop. You'll feel it get tight. You don't want to tighten it too much, just until it stops, because these things, you can keep turning it. So you have to be careful. As soon as you feel the resistance, and then stop, and then you can see it's flush against the valve cover. So I did get some new clips, but they are not the correct size for this vehicle, so I'm just going to be reusing the old ones. Although this one here, the spring clip has pretty much lost a majority of its attention, but I'm just going to be reusing it for the time being until I'm able to get a new one. So we're just going to insert the clip here. I can see that there's a crack here already on the hose, so that's going to be causing some issues here, but we are going to be replacing it in the near future because I'm not able to obtain the part at this time. It's probably a good idea to replace these hoses if you haven't done so, because these will be the original hoses. There's usually two here, one from the PCV to the intake side, and one from the valve cover to the air box side. I'm going to be replacing the PCV hose now. I got a replacement, an aftermarket replacement by Gates. This is the part number here. Unfortunately, Toyota has stated that they discontinued making the PCV hose, so I have to go for an aftermarket option. So we are going to be replacing it now. I'm still waiting on the other hose to show up, which is the one here that's connected to the valve cover and goes into the air duct on where the air box is. I got a new clip. I was supposed to get two, but they only gave me one, so I'm just going to be replacing the one for the time being, and the part number is right here for these clips. So now we are just going to disconnect the hose now. You can see that the old one is very brittle and cracked. So actually, there's only there is one clip that goes on one end, and there's a different size clip that goes to where the PCV valve is. So the one that goes to the PCV valve is smaller, and the one that goes to the intake is larger. So we're going to install the new one now. And that's all there is to it for installing the PCV hose here. So just make sure it's in all the way. This one is a new clip or clamp. The one over here, I reused the old one. It seems to be working okay. Usually these clips or clamps, they lose tension over time, so I just think it's a good idea to replace them at the same time when you are doing the hose.